Hello folks, I greet you. Welcome to Homo Politicus on Enterprise TV. And one more time, compliments of the season to you. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. You know, the year 2023 in review. Well, the year runs out in a few days' time, but we would remember it for a legion of events ranging from the political to the downright bizarre and ugly. More than anything else, 2023 will no doubt be seen as a difficult one, a year of uncertainty. It's a year that defied prophecies and exposed the hollowness in the prophecies of the men of God. A year of the general election. Now, given the potpourri of events, I dare say that 2023 is a year Nigerians would love to forget in a mad hurry. Mention must be made, though, of the frightening harvest of deaths at the hands of bloodthirsty bandits, unconscionable headers, and so on. I must mention also the maddening so-called unknown gunmen ravaging the southeastern region of the country. Let's now flip the pages of history. 2023 in retrospect. Well, let's meet and greet my guests. They are, in no particular order, Innocent Adulugba is a journalist and public affairs analyst. Innocent, I greet you.
A pleasure being here. Compliments.
Compliments too to you. We also have Emeka Madunagu, journalist and political commentator. Emeka, greetings too.
Thank you very much. Compliments of the season.
Okay, gentlemen, let's look at the year together. I dare say one of the very first happy events in the country was recorded on January 24. That was when the $1.5 billion Lekki deep sea port was commissioned here in Lagos.
Yeah, very interesting that for the first time, Nigeria was able to commission, begin operations in a deep sea port, because it had become a very embarrassing political issue for many years. Different state governments talking about establishing a deep sea port, but finally, through a joint consortium involving the federal government, the Lagos state government, and some foreign investors, the deep sea port was achieved in Lekki, Lagos. So it was a very good one.
All right. Adulugba, sadly, the next day, January 25, at least 27 herders were killed and several others injured when a bomb exploded in Nasarawa State. Some herders said it was caused by an airstrike.
Oh, well, like you have introduced before, a mixture of the joyful and the gloomy as well. A sad one. I would rather say Nigeria hopes in 2024 some of these accidental explosions would be brought to the barest minimum. We've had enough of them already, from the settlement in the Ikeja cantonment to others in recent times. Not a good way to lose lives, as it were.
Emeka, on January 29, if you remember, at least 9 people were killed when a container fell from a truck onto a commercial bus in Lagos.
Which was very sad, very sad, because this should no longer be the case. For a nation that wants to be respected in the Committee of Nations, we should be able to handle municipal movements in a more orderly fashion. You see these trailers moving about with unstrapped containers. It should now become something of the past. We should redesign our transportation system in such a way that there is a disembarkation point for these trailers, so they are not allowed to move about in crowded parts of the metropolis.
Yeah. Okay then. Let's also tell you that on February 4, 2023, Nigerians protested across the land on account of the Naira And if you recall what I mean, naira scarcity and all that,
Yes.
occasioned by the supposed redesign of the naira.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big issue because some months before in the previous year, say October, as much as about 63 billion naira were announced as authorized by the then CBN governor. What's it called now?
Godwin Emefiele.
Yeah.
For naira redesign. One would think that when a new volume of note are in the system, it would swell the existing one. But
And ease tension in the land.
it was a big problem at the time. The logic was reversed, and trust Nigerians, for whatever the technological advancement, large transactions are done physically day by day. In fact, there are some people who doubt transfer transactions, not liking the delay and the issues around it.
All right, Emeka, one big event in Nigeria came on February 25. If you remember, the general election took place. We elected the president to the member of the State House of Assembly on February 25, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was very interesting. At least once again, Nigeria was able to achieve a democratic transition, even with the hiccups, with the hitches, but we were able to cross from, we were able to go across the elections, which was a major achievement, and that showed that democracy has come to stay in Nigeria, and we hope it keeps getting better.
Can only get better. All right, let's move into March. On March 3rd, if you remember, Innocent, 16 people were killed when a pipeline exploded at Homo here. That's in Rivers State, if you remember.
That's a notorious incident. God rest their souls. But beyond the explosion, Nigeria seems to be the most daring in the world. You see an explosion, you know that fuel is combustible, you still rush there with containers to scoop what you can, hoping that by magic,
whatever that means,
will not happen until you are done.
Yeah, crazy. And in the same March, specifically on March 9, 6 people were killed and at least 25 others injured when a train collided with a public bus on the track. Emeka, remember?
Yeah,
Lagos,
I remember, and that was a gross negligence. That was callous on the part of the driver, because he was allegedly wearing an earpiece while driving. So it was said that it was alleged that he didn't hear the sound of the approaching train, which was actually a heinous crime. And of course,
Emeka, arrant nonsense.
And for which he has been put on trial.
That was an event I personally reported at the time, and there were testimonies to him being cautioned and ignoring caution, saying he's driving a government bus. It is other people that should wait for him instead of him waiting cautiously.
All right. You remember, a happy event occurred on March 18, 2023. Rukayat Shitu became the youngest state assembly member in Kwara State to be elected.
I think she was riding the crest of the former President Buhari's policy
not too young
to run. That's something testimonial. As it were, that election being delayed by 2 weeks for possibly better preparations to absorb some of the shocks from the earlier held presidential and national assembly election. And a good one for Kwara, and it has been followed by some appointment of young people into executive positions, as it were.
Okay. Quickly, we move into May now, May 2023. One striking event was recorded on May 22nd when the Dangote refinery was opened.
Very interesting. For the first time, Nigeria had a privately owned refinery, and which was quite salutary. and gave hope that gradually Nigeria will transition from a state-owned, but
state-run, if you like,
state-run refineries to private refineries, and that sector will someday be totally handed over to the private sector. Because it's long overdue that Nigeria has no business running refineries. Refineries are no longer very lucrative businesses anywhere in the world because of renewable energy and gas-fired engines. So Nigeria throwing money into the big hole called subsidy is no longer sustainable. So definitely we hope we will get to the point where the downstream sector of the petroleum industry will be fully in the hands of the private sector.
All right, then. Brings us to June. Innocent, another ugly one recorded on June 13, if you remember. A boat mishap took the lives of 100 people during a wedding ceremony on the Niger River in Kwara State, you remember?
Yeah, quite sad. They were hoping to arrive and celebrate a wedding happily, which turned gloomy. I think I would say here that the President Tinubu administration should focus on building bridges. The gap from Jeddah to Lokoja, which is the distance between the two bridges in the area, is over 7-8 hours. And people have to navigate through boats. In this instance, the boat may have fallen short of navigable standards. And what would have been a joyful day of connubial bliss from that matrimonial celebration became a sad day.
As they say, became a fly in the ointment of the married couple.
You could say that.
Okay then, Emeka, on 7th July, health officers confirmed an outbreak of diphtheria in the capital city of Abuja, if you remember, following the death of a 4-year-old boy.
It's once again confirmed the fact that we still have low capacity in the health sector, which is very bad. In previous years, we had monkeypox, we had COVID, we had yellow fever, we had different viruses, and these things have been put behind, by a number of nations, even including developing nations. So at this stage, we shouldn't be caught unawares. Do you know Lassa fever continues to kill people periodically in Nigeria? And meanwhile, these are things that by now ought to have been put under control. If you consider the quantum of grants we have and assistance received from international donor agencies and partner countries, we need to really improve our disease response mechanism in Nigeria. It needs to be seriously upskilled because we are lagging behind. Okay then.
Brings us to September, specifically on September 4th, 2023. The 13-kilometer long, that's about 8-mile long Lagos Rail Mass Transit, the Blue Line rapid train system began service in Lagos after being delayed since 1983, Innocent.
Well, it turns out fortune's will. The person who was there in 83, President Buhari, returned as the civilian president to consummate what was being delayed. A huge alternative to road transport. Possibly Nigeria is getting it right with practicing multimodal transport system where we don't overburden a particular means. You recall that the Shagamu-Lagos axis is a big bottleneck certain times of the year. So very commendable one. Many people are believing that someday somebody resident in Ibadan can work in Lagos and return same day.
Yeah, 20th October, Emeka, Niger State recorded another ugly one. 2 children, we recall, were killed and 2 others injured when a mechanical issue caused a boat engine to catch fire. The incident took place at Kacha in Niger State.
Very unfortunate, but again, like I say, our major problem in Nigeria is lack of capacity in many areas to deal with our challenges, ordinary challenges that should not even pose any problem. But we cannot handle safety. Safety, disaster management, disaster responsiveness, these are things that, if you look at all the money budgeted over the years, why do we still have such things? Why would you allow people to put boats that are in a suspicious, that are suspected to be in a derelict state? Why would you allow them to be put on the waters to transport people or goods? And all you just find is, you see the same watery, wishy-washy statements from government, and everybody, life goes on, business goes on. These things, we should by now have become ashamed of ourselves that some of these things happen at all.
You get the impression, Emeka, that we have lost our sense of shame.
We have indeed.
All right, still in October 29th, Innocent, 17 bodies were found, 73 other people were missing when a boat carrying traders returning from a fish market capsized on the Benue River. The boat had over 100 passengers on board. 14 of them, only 14 were rescued.
Thank you, Citizen. I seem to be the specialist for the boats.
Good for you.
Anyway, I think Nigeria should begin to convert the blessings from our natural resources. Out there in Europe, water transportation is a huge and stable means of livelihood. Sad one, very sad indeed, but, well, like he said, life goes on. Possibly in the new year, the authorities involved will be looking to get us boats that exude confidence for people to step in. Because sometimes these boat journeys are way shorter than looking for road and bridges to circumvent these distances as well.
Yeah, Innocent makes you feel we are not ready for the 21st century. Or so it seems.
In some sectors.
But water transportation is actually a lucrative sector. If we can get it right. It's a lucrative sector. But, well, in Nigeria, anything goes. So people can put any kind of craft on the waters, and nobody is checking to be sure that they meet acceptable safety standards.
Yeah. Gentlemen, again, another ugly incident recorded on October 31st. At least 20 people, Emeka, were killed when a landmine placed by Boko Haram insurgents exploded while they returned from the burials of victims from the previous day's shooting.
Well, sad that Boko Haram has continued to be a source of sorrow and anguish for Nigerians. Well, the authorities continue to tell us that they are winning the war against Boko Haram. But of course, when an insurgent group begins to use landmines, you know that definitely it's losing the momentum, but it still wants to be able to inflict maximum damage, like burying landmines in different places. So look at such a tragic sequence of events. People went to bury victims of the previous day shooting, only for their vehicle to run over a landmine. I think that government should not relent in its efforts to destroy, totally annihilate insurgent groups wherever they are in the country.
Yeah, call the bluff.
Yes, call the bluff and totally wipe them out.
Okay, still in November now, 2 people were killed and 2 others injured when a tanker exploded outside the High Commission of Canada in Abuja, if you remember, Innocent.
Yeah.
Well, they will tell you globally that the embassy of any country is as good as the territory of that country, which in a lighter note makes that to have appeared to be a breach of Canadian territory. I think it's about covering, not showing your dirty linens in public. Like Emeka said, there are certain standard of operations
Yes.
that should exist from the get-go. Third one, like you said earlier, the litany, reading debts and all of that.
But it's also unfortunate. Let me just quickly add that up till now, we've not seen the report of that incident. It's unusual. I just wonder, is it that the Nigerian government and the Canadian government are trying to hide the facts from the public? They don't want us to know what happened in an incident where people died. That needs to be looked into.
Okay. Emeka, November 11, Bayelsa, Kogi, Imo elections held. These were off-cycle polls, if you remember.
Yeah, we look forward to a day where we will no longer have any need for off-cycle elections. But be that as it may, the elections once again exposed the gross ineptitude of the Independent National Electoral Commission. And the fact that Nigerian politicians, unfortunately, continue on that delinquent streak. They continue to show that they are unrepentantly wayward. You saw, you had incidents of vote buying, ballot boxes were snatched, people were killed, an electoral officer was held hostage, was abducted and held hostage. INEC got a complaint that about pre-recorded result sheets during the election, but its Resident Electoral Commissioner in Kogi was saying he had not heard anything like that, whereas INEC had already on his X handle acknowledged that he received the complaint and was looking into it. So what it shows is that in a number of government agencies, there is no linking of fingers. People just fly at different altitudes instead of a seamless operation where different parts merge into a whole. So that's something to look into. Well, in Bayelsa and Imo, the incumbent governors got a second term, while in Kogi a new governor emerged. But I think beyond just holding elections, INEC ought to improve its standards. INEC has acknowledged, a number of times that its standards are way below average.
Emeka, but one feels they need to add that politicians are not helping matters either.
Well, unfortunately, that is the sad thing. So they always just tell you go to court. After carrying out their delinquent acts, they tell you go to court. But you see, I hope we'll get to the day when that incentive, that incentive that makes politics so lucrative will somehow be removed, so that politics will just be what it is, service, to be about service.
Innocent, sometimes you begin to imagine jobless politicians in this country.
Well, I'm going to just say congratulations to the Auditor General for Local Government in Kogi State, Ahmed Usman, who won. He is now a greenhorn awaiting his inauguration. But the joblessness stems from the fact that desperation is born. And in the bid to carry out your desperate, some of them thrive in causing chaos in the state. Some of them are happy. You are too afraid to come out to vote. That environment gives them the leeway to carry out what he has called delinquent and atrocious activity.
One point I forgot to mention was the low voter turnout.
That's where I'm coming from, like
13%.
Leading to the election, partly in Bayelsa, largely in Imo, this chaos has been caused. People humbled and bullied even by some of our authorized security agencies. So you tell yourself, what have I to gain going to vote? And I, talking to you, sir, I was turned back from the gubernatorial elections where I saw women with babies and pregnant women bullied. Myself.
And just to add, in one of the elections, it was said that the figures recorded for the governor were more than the figures recorded for the 4 top candidates in the presidential election. So you wonder, presidential election that had the presidential election that even had a higher turnout happened to now have a lower figure than the result of the governorship election. which was poorly attended. So you see how ingenious politicians, Nigerian politicians have become.
Or otherwise.
Deviously ingenious.
Okay then, let's quickly move to December. On December 3rd, Kaduna State recorded a most ugliest incident, if you remember. Who's turn now? Innocent, Emeka. Tudumbiri drone strike came and hordes of people were killed.
That was a major blunder by the Nigerian military, which is still being investigated. So I hope such an incident doesn't happen again, because it happened some years ago in Borno State, where an airstrike kills a lot of people. So this should not be allowed to happen. Unfortunately, some mischievous elements are trying to bring in an ethnic angle into the matter. A plain operational blunder, which was admitted by the military. But one problem in Nigeria is that you find mischievous elements who get away with some of these things because the long arm of the law is not long enough to haul them into jail. But I hope we'll get there someday. Someday,
all right then. Let's quickly flip through our pages and recall some major deaths of colorful Nigerians, very many of them. Peace Anyam Osigwe, the filmmaker and entertainment executive, she was 53 years old, innocent. She passed on January 9.
Yeah, and about on the 15th she was buried. She is a filmmaker. She's the founder of the AMA Awards. I think she also recorded and directed some music video for P Square. Some call her the Queen of Nollywood. These are hands behind the scene.
She also owns a radio station, we know.
So she's an active player in the media space. A very sad loss, I would say 53.
Yeah.
A youthful age. Couple of...
when are you, begs the question, when are you ripe to die? You are not sure?
Innocent or people?
People.
Well,
or if you like, man.
let's leave it hanging.
Okay, we'll leave it hanging. Emeka Femi Ogurumbi, an actor and ethnomusicologist, passed on January 14.
Oh, unfortunate. Really unfortunate.
You remember him?
Yes, the creative industry, the entertainment industry continues to lose people.
Oh yeah.
But well, we hope that his family will find him consolation.
Yeah, innocent. On January 19, Oladipo Ogunlesi, a professor of medicine, also passed.
Yes, I think I got wind of that. A prominent name, the top echelon in the country's medical advancement. It was a sad one, and he was mourned. He will be greatly missed. Nigeria lost some, especially in the health sector, where we are on the train for the Japa situation. This one didn't Japa, but ended up being deceased. God rest his soul.
All right, Emeka, on February 1st, Dan Suleiman, 80 years old, politician and governor of Old Plateau State, passed.
That was an old politician. From the old politician. I think he was one of the founders of PDP.
Okay, Dan Suleiman was a retired Air Force officer.
Yes, I think he was a key politician. Yeah, he played some roles in the Fourth Republic, but surely he'll be missed as well.
Okay, innocent, a popular musician here in Lagos, Mohbad, passed on September 12, and it caused a lot of furore in the country.
You know, I personally apologized to Mohbad posthumously. Personally, because there were many music hits I heard, and I thought, oh, this one is Olamide, this one is... Only to find out that it was that protege, a very talented 27-year-old. He came to limelight in his death than in his lifetime. The furor, yes, lots of back and forth about proprietorship, what's it called, patency, and business rights. His diseased woman was brought in. He had a son. Lots of names mentioned left and right. His father conspired to hastily bury him.
The autopsy report became didn't help matters either.
But typical, let me use that word. As we speak now, it's already buried. People are going ahead. The kind of expectation you expect to reward the solidarity he got from youth across campuses in Nigeria, candlelight protests, investigations they clamored for, all gone with the wind now.
All right, Emeka, how about this? Alhaji Mansour Nuhu Bamali, 42 years old, he was Nigerian ambassador to Morocco. He passed on October 20.
Well, rather very young.
Too young to die, perhaps.
In the diplomatic circle, because for somebody who was, in the service of the nation, in the diplomatic circle, we lost somebody.
We did.
Nigeria lost somebody in him.
No less so in Aderonke Kale, 84 years old, Nigerian Army physicist and first female Major General in the Nigerian Army. She passed on November 8.
Oh, that's my wife's birthday. That's an Amazon, somebody who has been an inspiration to many. The first to pass through a door for other females. And you should know that the aeronautics are not where you venture in for play. So if a woman that age had achieved that height, you can imagine how old she was. The stereotypes around her time when she took this big leap, she'd surely be missed.
Emeka, and this one, 67-year-old governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, passed. That was on December 27.
That was really
along with a former speaker of the Federal House, Galina.
Unfortunately, two prominent politicians, they had been reported ill for a long time. So there was the hope that they would recover. Unfortunately, they passed. But I want to believe that they touched lives and left imprints, in the sands of time, and were able to groom younger people whom, hopefully will continue to espouse the ideals for which they lived and died. But the point is that Nigerian politicians, like a lot of people have said, Nigerian politicians should have in mind what kind of legacy they are leaving behind.
Yeah, okay. All right, folks, that will just about do it for... Yeah, you were going to say?
Yes, and I think the year smiled on Nigeria in the sporting fortunes.
Okay, I almost forgot that,
With Nigeria's Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
Napoli superstar, 23 years after Nwankwo Kanu, beating a legend like Mohamed Salah and somebody in a big club like Achraf Hakimi of Morocco to win the African Footballer of the Year, followed by a female compatriot, Azizat Oshoala, who did it for the 6th time. I think it's difficult for another person to come and beat that. The Nigeria female national team was also team of the year, and Chiamaka Nnadozie was the women's
goalkeeper of the year
of the continent.
Emeka, this is not to take anything away from our national football team, the Super Eagles.
Yeah, if you also remember, the Super Eagles yesterday was said to be the 12th most expensive team in the world. Then also look at the run the Super Falcons had, during the Women's World Cup this year. So the year was an interesting one for Nigerian sports. You also had Toby Amushon. She also did some good things. You also had Anthony Joshua. Joshua, you had, but our performance in terms of...
I hear Joshua and Deontay Wilder have links with Nigeria. I don't know how untrue that is.
No, the one of Joshua is clear.
Okay, I
The
know.
one for Deontay Wilder we will. And Joshua is not ashamed to associate
Innocent, you
with
are not going to
Nigerians.
court over that. No.
Okay.
Blood.
No, but Joshua visited his hometown, Chicago, and it was well.
Yeah. But even Deontay said he had links with Nigeria, so nobody will quarrel with
But
that.
you know the interesting thing, that such global stars are so happy
To be associated.
to be associated with Nigeria at a time when there are Nigerians coming out on social media to say, oh, I tore my passport, I tore my Nigerian passport after I got the passport of another country. It tells you that we may need to really look again at what the concept of being a Nigerian. What does it mean to be a Nigerian?
There are attacks by Anthony Joshua too, claiming that he eats Nigerian food to find his vigor. His name is also Oluwafemi, and he says it everywhere. I think he's happy he's in a system that supports his career, but proudly his aboriginal roots are still in Nigeria.
And can I just add one more thing?
Yeah.
You see, Nigerian products are making big waves abroad. Fufu, which is cassava paste, is a major item right now because of the global cuisine.
They sell fufu on the streets of London.
Yeah, you can imagine what we call chewing stick here. On Amazon, it sells for $2 as organic toothbrush.
Oh boy.
And some other very interesting things about Nigeria. So Nigeria needs better packaging.
Emeka, you just mentioned fufu and reminds me of this development, if you remember. Innocent, you won't forget the mad cow disease. It came in the...
Was it mad cow or the...
Mad cow disease in Europe.
Okay, in Europe. Yes, okay.
What stopped it was the cyanide in cassava. And that is what gave former governor of, what's his name now, Abia State, Emeka, who Jews or Kalu, he exported a lot of cassava to Europe and made money.
So we need to repackage the concept of Nigeria and Nigerianness.
The Wilder is also traced to Edo State.
Here we go again.
And the Nigerian professor has also been appointed president at Cambridge University. So like Emeka said, outside our shows, Nigerians are unlimited.
Ghana had a homecoming for African Americans.
Yeah.
Last year. Yes. So the world is now waiting for when Nigeria will organize its own homecoming.
You just talked about Ghana. Makes me remember that the late Louis Armstrong traced his roots to Ghana.
To Ghana, yes. Others are tracing their roots to Nigeria.
And the Emperor of Calypso, Slinger Francisco, the one you know as the Mighty Sparrow, said he had his links tied to Calabar. Could you beat that?
So historians need to really work on.
So, is anybody between both of you thinking about a Nigerian dream?
There is a Nigerian dream.
Okay.
There is a Nigerian dream.
Do we dream at all?
Well, that's one. I believe in Nigeria. That's why I've never taken up opportunities to relocate abroad, because I believe I'm Nigerian and I live in Nigeria and I'll live in Nigeria all my life. I just believe there are certain things that may not be in place, but with time, we will get over there. We'll get there.
All right, folks, you were going to say?
Yes, when you talk about the Welcome Back organized in Ghana, there is the WWF, World Wrestling Federation superstar, the New Day. The New Day. One of them is a world champion, Kofi Kingston.
Okay. Has anybody... do we remember Adesanya, Israel Adesanya? The USF, yeah.
Okay.
Making us proud, too.
Well, okay. We are also told that Bishop T.D. Jakes is Igbo.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So maybe maybe we are giving strategies to this new government to organize that homecoming. Talking about youth, Dr. Betta Edu from Cross River State is the Minister of Humanitarian. This could be things that that
I have openly advocated for Nigeria to pay close attention to soft power. That soft power is what many, especially the United States, China, they have used that soft power to exert influence in global affairs.
Okay, folks, we will apply the brakes here, but not before thanking Emeka Madunagu for coming.
Thank you very much.
Innocent Adulugba, many thanks for your time.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your holiday, folks. Well, those are the events we are able to capture for 2023. You may have your own diary, but all told, TV is to inform, educate, entertain. I sure believe we have achieved that today. Thank you for your time. Until the next time when Homo Politicus comes your way, I am Citizen Jones Hussein saying bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.